today. In our last session, session, we have discussed about VLANs, right? Virtual LAN. It's creating a single broadcast domain into multiple broadcast domains, right? So by default, all the ports in the part of VLAN one. That VLAN one we call administrative VLAN, or we can call it as a management VLAN, right? So what it is doing is Switch maintains the MAC table. If destination device MAC address information if is not in the MAC table, ARP will come in the picture and will do broadcast like spreading, right? So this broadcast is going to making some impact in your network, like no security, and it's making your network is slow. Multiple broadcasts like more bandwidth utilized. That happens, right? So to provide security and to improve our network performance and we can minimize the broadcast, so we need to manage your LAN traffic. We need to manage your users traffic, right? Like how can manage it? So how to manage the traffic means like if all devices should be connected in a manageable switches, right? Can be any vendor. Manageable switches should be there. If the switches are manageable, then we can configure VLANs. So by default, all the ports in the part of VLAN one, so we say a single broadcast domain will divide into multiple broadcast domains. The two major advantages of by creating VLANs are to provide layer 2 security and to minimize the broadcast in the LAN, creating smaller broadcast domains in LAN. And if so, two switches between the two switches, how to allow the traffic like multiple VLAN traffic. Because only one VLAN directly can make a one cross cable and you can allow, right? That the thing is when you have the more than one VLAN traffic, so how to allow the traffic means we required one mechanism called trunk. So trunk mode allows multiple VLAN traffic by using only one physical cable by adding headers to Ethernet frames. So this process we call trunk encapsulation method. Trunk encapsulation are two types. One is a ISL inter-switch link, ISL and 802.1Q. So what is the difference between ISL and .1Q? ISL is a Cisco protocol. 802.1Q is a open standard. So can you tell me ISL is going to adding how many bytes of headers? ISL, how many bytes of headers will be added? 30 bytes. Good. 30 bytes headers plus stylus both is adding. If it is 802.1Q open standard protocol, how many bytes of headers is adding, guys? Is adding only 4 bytes of headers only, right? So mostly we use .1Q protocol. And what is the adding? Adding headers means what is exactly inside the headers means we call it as a tags, VLAN tags. Say the tag we have VLAN ID. So when traffic is received, the trunk port is adding tag. When traffic is leaving the trunk port is removing tags. So this process we call VLAN tagging method, right? Like even in your network, have any IP phones? Like how to connect your IP phones? Also, we have discussed by connecting one more port for basis of one more port. We can use to connect IP phones like a PC to IP phone to switch phone. So it has only one port. So by using this port, we can transmit your data traffic and transmit what voice traffic also, right? Right. All the topics on the yesterday we have discussed. So do you have any doubts regarding this topic, guys? All right. So today, let me continue with one more topic is, yesterday we already clearly discussed if switch A is a Cisco switch, if switch B is a Cisco switch. Yeah, Pradeep, let me discuss today topic. That is only our today topic. We no need to create the VLANs in all switches. So we have the good concept is that today, let me continue with it. All right. Uh, if switch A is a Cisco, if switch B is a Cisco, one side if you configure trunk, other side do you need to configure trunk? No need. Why? Because one side if you configure trunk, other side automatically trunk will form. Why? Because in Cisco switches we have one protocol is already enabled. That protocol is what, guys? DTP, dynamic trunking protocol. So what is the use of, what is the responsibility of dynamic trunking protocol is, DTP is a Cisco protocol. DTP is responsible for dynamically negotiates trunk between the switches. DTP is enabled by default in all Cisco switches. The second point clearly. What's the responsibility of DTP, guys? DTP is responsible for what? Dynamically negotiates. So negotiation for what purpose? Trunks between which devices? We clearly defined here. DTP can negotiate between only switch to switches. Right? This is a very important point. So this protocol automatic negotiations, dynamic negotiations between the which devices? Switches. So it means so no negotiation between the switch to router, switch to firewall, not like that. Switch to switch. Okay. So now DTP modes. Let's say what are the DTP modes? DTP modes are dynamic, desirable, and dynamic auto. Okay, leave it about these modes. Only one point about DTP protocol. The point is what? What is the responsibility of DTP? Dynamically negotiates. This is only the point. Between switches. So how it's going to negotiate? Let me clearly discuss. In the yesterday session, we already discussed about two modes. One is mode access. One more mode is what? Mode. Interface fast Ethernet 0/24. Now port number 24 is being configured as a mode access. Now port number 24 can allow switch VLAN traffic. Access mode always allows only single VLAN traffic, which is VLAN 1 traffic only, right? If port number 24 is being configured as a mode trunk, now port number 24 can allows multiple VLAN traffic by adding a headers. It can be ISL headers, it can be .1Q headers. So this is the action, this is the function of two modes. Access modes always act as access, allows only VLAN 1 traffic. Trunk mode always act as a trunk, allows multiple VLAN traffic by adding ISL headers or .1Q headers, right? Now let me discuss about dynamic desirable and dynamic auto modes. So command options we have what? Access, trunk, dynamic desirable, and dynamic auto. So access mode means always act as an access, which is non-trunk port. If port is configured as a trunk, always act as what? Trunk. Interface, fast Ethernet, port number configured access. Now port number 24 always acts as what, guys? Act as access only. Means allow single VLAN traffic, which is non-trunk. If port number 24 is configured trunk, now port number 24 always act as what? Right. If interface fast Ethernet 0/24 have configured as a dynamic desirable. What dynamic desirable is doing is going to initiate negotiation messages. Like example is a switch A and switch B. Switch A and switch B is connected. Now both are Cisco devices. Both are Cisco switches. So if the Cisco switches, which protocol is default is enabled, DDB is running. Now in switch A, if I configure it as a dynamic desirable, the port which port is connected can be any port. Example port number 20. Now what port number 20 is doing is dynamic desirable initiates negotiation messages. So what port number 20 is doing is sending some negotiation to other side switch. Hello switch B. Enable trunk is initiating the messages. Right? So not only initiating, it has one more responsibility. You know what? What is it? Response to negotiation messages for what purpose? To start using trunking. So dynamic desirable not only initiating, if other switch is initiating, it can be respond also, two actions. Is initiating that. If others are initiating, it can be respond also, two functions. Okay. Right. If port number 24 has configured as a dynamic auto, it passively waits to receive trunk negotiation messages. So whenever dynamic auto, if port number 23 is a dynamic auto mode, if it's connected to switch something, switch A. So switch A is started initiating. That's it. So once dynamic auto you receive the initiating messages, will start trunking. So literally, dynamic auto is passively waiting. So once it's received any negotiation message, we start forming trunking. The short form you can say is eagerly waiting for negotiation. Other switch is once is initiating, we start trunking. Just passively waits, right? Clear about dynamic desirable and dynamic auto. So dynamic desirable initiates negotiation, and it can be respond to what negotiation message for what purpose? To start trunking. If it's dynamic auto, passively waits to receive the trunk negotiation message. Okay. Now let me go for some questions here. Switch A and switch B, two switches. One side switch A, one side have configured dynamic auto. Other side is a mode trunk. One side is dynamic auto means he's passively waiting. Other side is what? Mode trunk. He's already trunked this. Now this link allows single VLAN traffic or multiple VLAN traffic. I mean, so this link is a access link or trunk link. Right. Trunk is okay, but what is explanation? How we can say the trunk? So why? Because switch A is port is dynamic auto means is passively waiting, right? So what purpose is waiting? To form trunk. But what about switch B is already is what? Trunk. Is passively waiting to form a trunk, is already trunk means the link is what? Trunk will be formed. Next. Switch A is dynamic desirable and switch B is a mode trunk. Now this is trunk access. Yes, this is also trunk, right? So why? Because dynamic desirable means is actively initiating negotiation messages. For what purpose? To form trunk. What about switch B? Switch B already is trunk, right? So switch A is telling is that, so switch B, try to form a trunk, try to form a trunk. Switch B is telling is that, I am already trunk. Okay, then I am also enabled trunk. Trunk is being formed. One is a dynamic auto. Other side is a mode access. Now link is a trunk link or access link? Right. So switch A is a passively waiting for what purpose? Passively waiting to receive the trunking, to receive the negotiation messages, right? Switch B access. So switch B access port can initiate the negotiation messages. So there is no initiating, right? So when dynamic auto will be respond, when dynamic auto will exactly can be come in the picture. Once dynamic auto will receive the negotiation messages, then it can be respond, right? But in this case, there is no switch to initiate the negotiation messages. Switch B is a mode access. Is saying is that I am always act as an access. I'm a non-trunk port, right? Means dynamic desirable initiating and mode access. Tell me, guys. Dynamic desirable is actively initiating. Other side is access. And what you say? Is it trunk or access? Access. You know why? Why? Because switch A is a initiating. So switch A is a actively initiating this trunk negotiation messages. Initiating, but the thing is what? Switch B is telling is that even you're initiating, I am always act as a non-trunk. Access mode. One end is a dynamic auto, other end is a dynamic auto. Now, trunk or access mode. Okay. How? Because switch A is passively waiting. What about switch B? Switch B also passively waiting, right? Then which switch can initiate the negotiation message? There is no switch, right? Like both ends passively waiting. Then where is negotiation message? The access link. So this is default status for all Cisco ports. So Cisco switches ports default mode is what? Dynamic auto mode. If you purchase one brand new switch, 24 port switch, port number 1, port number 2, port number 3, 4, like each and every port, what is the default mode? Dynamic auto mode, dynamic auto. Like all 24 port modes are what? Dynamic auto. So Cisco switch ports default mode is what? Dynamic auto. So generally, people will think default mode is a access mode, but it's wrong. So Cisco switch ports default mode is what? Dynamic auto. In yesterday, we have configured trunk, right? We have configured trunk one side or only two sides? Only one side have configured. Then trunk is being automatically formed, right? You know how? In switch A, port number 21 have configured, right? Trunk. Means the switch B port number 18. What is the default mode of switch B port number 18? Default mode is what? Default mode. Dynamic auto. So switch ports. Cisco switch ports default mode is what? Dynamic auto. Now in switch A, we have configured trunk, or you can configure dynamic desirable. Then what happened? So once we configure dynamic or dynamic desirable means is initiate, is waiting, trunk is being formed. Okay, guys. So this is how DTP protocol exactly will be work. Dynamic desirable. Trunk or axis. Trunk. Dynamic auto, dynamic desirable. One side is waiting, one side is initiating. You can copy it now. These are the combinations of DTP modes. The configuration of DTP. Switch port mode. Whether you can configure dynamic auto or you can configure dynamic desirable. Okay. Show interface trunk, the verification command. Right. Let me continue with one more important topic. Yeah, we use DTP in the real time. Yes, we use. The scenario is a three switches. Between the three switches, we'll discuss the scenario. Switch A name is first switch name is A, switch A and switch B and C. So my example between the three switches, but you understand in the real time we have a number of switches, right? Say 24 port switch is also 24 port and 24 port switch. So now you tell me guys, total how many number of broadcast domains are available? Three broadcast domains. Now I'm making a one link from switch A to switch B from port number 24 to port number 24. Now how many broadcast domains? Two broadcast domains. Like I'm making one more cable from port number 23 to port number 23 and C. Now total how many broadcast domains? Only one broadcast domain. So what is the broadcast domain size? Like any one device can generate the broadcast and the whole 372 ports can receive the broadcast, right? Okay. Then how to minimize the broadcast? How to provide the security? How to minimize it, the broadcast domain? What is the solution to minimize the broadcast? And what is the solution to provide security in the LAN? Create VLAN, right? Perfect. So this network, my example between the three switches only, but you understand with the many networks, many switches, like hundreds of switches in the real time, right? So means any one device can generate a whole department, the whole network is being down, no secured. So to minimize that, to minimize the broadcast and to provide security, we need to create, means network engineer has to create what? VLANs. Now network engineer started to create VLANs in switch A. Make some example, VLAN 10 and VLAN number 20, VLAN number 30, VLAN number 40, VLAN 50, VLAN 60, 70, 80, 90, and like 90 VLANs. Some example. So VLANs are being created, 90 VLANs in switch A. The same information we need to create in switch B also. What a network engineer will do, log out from A and log into B and create V10, V20, V30, V40, and V90. Right, the same VLAN information now we need to create in switch C also. Now log out from B and log into C, create V10, V20, and V90. Fine. If it's the three switches, we can easily create the VLANs, right? But my example is what here? The real time we have a number of switches, multiple switches. The multiple times we need to create in a multiple VLANs in the real time, right? Network administrative work is more. Not only this issue, like after some time, I created in a number of switches, number of VLANs. Later, so my requirement is a VLAN 80 and VLAN 90. I want to remove from in all switches. Then what we need to do? Log into A and give the command no VLAN 80, no VLAN 90, and log out from A. Log into B, no 80, no 90. Again C, no 80, no 90. Like how many devices you need to create? You need to remove number of switches we need to remove VLANs. After some time, now VLAN 80 has been modified as a VLAN 85, VLAN 90 has been modified as a VLAN 95. Now log into A, create 85, 95 and log into B, 85, 95, like number of switches, number of times, multiple switches, multiple times we need to configure. So this is a overhead happening in your network. So to avoid this type of issues, like to maintain, like complete the same VLAN information, consistency of the network. Like in our network have a 100 switches. Now 100 switches should maintain the same VLAN information. So to manage that, we have one protocol called VTP, VLAN trunking protocol, VTP. So what is VTP? What is the use of it, and what is the function of VTP, and what is the VTP modes means? So generally VTP use of it is a to maintain the same VLAN information throughout your network, to maintain the consistency of your network. So how VTP is going to maintain the same VLAN information throughout our network means, so VTP has a have a three modes. The first one is server mode, VTP server mode, and VTP client mode. So how these modes are been functioning is every switch. So by default mode is a server mode. Switch A is a default server mode. Switch B is a server mode. Switch C is a. Every switch default mode is what? Server mode. For example, switch A is a server mode switch. Switch B is also. Switch C also. And number of also default mode is what? Server. So what I am doing is as a network engineer, I'll keep one switch is a server switch, server mode switch. The remaining all switches have changed as a client mode switches. Client mode. Client mode. Now, if we create VLANs in switch A, which is server switch, I created VLAN 10, 20, 30, like 90 VLANs. Now, automatically, the same VLAN information will be replicated in all client mode switches. The same VLAN information will be replicated in what? All client switches. Now, in your network, how many client switches is there? Like throughout your network, all switches automatically be copied. We just configured only switch in switch A only, which is server. Now, after some time, if we remote VLAN 70, VLAN 80, VLAN 90 in switch A, which is server switch, then automatically in switch B also 70, 80, 90, in C also 70, 80, 90 is being removed. Like what are the changes? What are the modifications done in the server switch? The same information will be replicated in all client switches. So this is how VTP is going to work, right? But very important point is here. This is my network. A, B, C, three switches. A is server switch and B and C is what? Client switch. Now, whatever the VLANs are created in A, automatically information will be copied in B and C, right? After some time, one attacker, like unknown device, like hacker, like attacker is being connected to my switch. He is connected to my one of the switch. The attacker switch can be a server mode or it can be a client mode, right? If attacker switch is a server mode, now what attacker is doing is, so wantedly is going to create a number of VLANs. Like unwantedly, he created 2, 3, 4, like thousands of VLANs is created. Then you know what happened? Is all thousands of VLANs information will automatically update in our client switches, right? So attacker is making our network is busy. The short form we can say DOS attack, right? Unwantedly, VLANs information is being copied. One of the problems. The next point is a if attacker switch is a client switch, maybe attacker switch is a client. Now you tell me now what happened? What's the problem here? If attacker switch is a client, what was the problem? Exactly. Right? You know what we have created VLANs server in the server mode. Network engineer has created VLAN 10, VLAN 20, 90, right? 90 VLAN. So these information without any permission, attacker switch also can be known. Right? It's a problem. So to avoid this type of issues, VTP can be synchronized. VTP can advertise the VLANs. You know when server switch domain name and server switch password should be same for all client switches. When domain name of server switch and client switch is matching, When password of the server switch and client switch is matching, then only VLANs are being copied, VLANs are being synchronized. If server switch domain name and server switch password is not synchronizing, is not matching, so VTP will not forward the advertisements. And moreover, these domain names and passwords are case sensitive. In a server mode, domain name I configured CCNA, like all caps. Now password is a Cisco, all small letters. The client switch also domain name should be CCNA, and the password is CIS. Now server switch, client switch, VLANs information can be synchronized here. No, why? Domain name is CCNA, password is of Cisco. Same domain name and same password. This is a case in like lowercase and uppercase, right? Yes, exactly. So whatever the domain name you have configured, is uppercase means here also you have to was uppercase only. How attacker will come to know domain names and password, and maybe it's a case sensitive. If you know this case sensitive, right? Like this. So this is a security for outside. Now what about internal? Like internal means what? The server switch network administrators creating VLANs. VLAN 10, V20, V30, 90 VLANs. Like who is connected as employees in the client switch, like what our internal employees is doing is they're going to remove no VLAN 20, no VLAN 30, or maybe like internal employees is creating some VLAN 110, VLAN 120. Is they are also creating some VLANs. So to avoid the out of like outside security, we have what VTP domain name and password. But what about internally? Okay, you have configured password to switch. Password to configured, switch is configured, right? The main point is we can create the VLANs or we can delete VLANs or we can modify VLANs. It's possible only on server mode switch. If switch is in a client mode, we cannot create, we cannot delete, we cannot modify VLANs. So in our network, which switches are server mode switches? In server mode switch only, we can create or we can delete or can modify. So when the switch is in a client mode, we cannot create, we cannot delete the VLAN. Copy the notes. Yeah, Pradeep, actually this is a Cisco protocol. The vendors can be supported or cannot be, maybe may not be supported. Actually, this protocol is being developed by Cisco. Right. Even other switches also can be supported, maybe supported. Depends upon the switches operating system. See, I have seen a lot of switches in the real time when I used to go in the client side. Non-Cisco switches also protocol has been working. Maybe few switches will not work as. Right. Let me clearly discuss more detail about this protocol. How VLANs are being synchronizing. What is the backend process? That information let me discuss clearly. So once you've enabled VTP protocol in switch, already enabled. If you enable the VTP protocol, each and every switch is maintains some revision numbers. All of you can hear me? My voice is clear. So what topics going to discuss now is very important topic, and from this topic, nearly 5 to 6 questions will come from the Cisco examinations. So try to focus on it. How VTP is working? So if you enable VTP, every switches maintains the revision numbers. Default revision value is 0. Even the client switch also, for all switches, revision number is what? Now, out of 3 switches, in which switch we can create VLANs or we can delete VLANs? Can I create VLANs in switch B? Can I create VLANs in switch C? So we can create VLANs and delete VLANs in only on server switch, right? Switch A. Okay, let me create VLANs in switch A. I created VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, VLAN 30. Now, how many VLANs are created here? 3 VLANs. So if we create 3 VLANs, now your revision number will be changed as a 3. Revision number is being changed. For switch A, which is the neighbor switch? Switch B is the neighbor switch, right? Like what switch A is doing is, hello neighbor, take my revision number. It's going to advertise to neighbor switch. Hello switch B, my revision number is 3. Now what switch B is doing is, okay, let me check my revision value. So what is my revision value here? 0. So my revision number is 0 means switch A is telling is that what? 3. Okay, neighbor, you have 3 new updates. So please give me your updates. So my value is 0 means you are telling is 3 means you have the 3 new updates. So please give me your 3 new updates. What server is doing is, I take my 3 new updates. What are the 3 new updates? VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 30 has been created. Now what client is doing is, yes, I have updated 3 VLANs. So it's going to change revision number is what? 3. Now what switch B is doing is going to advertise to another neighbor. Hello neighbor C. My revision number is a 3. What about yours? Now C is telling is that like let me check my revision number. Oh, my revision number is 0. It means you have 3 new updates. So give me 3 new updates. New updates? The new updates are 10, 20, 30. Now see also you have updated 3 VLANs. Let me change as a 3. Right. So like this, like one by one switches, like throughout your network, you have a 3 switches, 30 switches, 300 switches, like entire your network, throughout your network is going to synchronizing, advertising, synchronizing, advertising, synchronizing. B will advertise to C, or C is to copy and advertise. Again, D will be copied and advertised. So this is how, like throughout your network, server mode switches and client mode switches always can be synchronized with revision numbers. Okay, right. After some time in switch A, what I'm doing is I have deleted VLAN 3. Sorry, VLAN 30 is being deleted. I have removed. No VLAN 30. Now, what is the revision number, guys? Here, revision number is a 4. Perfect, Pradeep. So if we create VLANs or if we delete VLANs, region number will be increased. Like any modification, one VLAN modification, region number is been increased. Right? So now I have deleted only one VLAN, right? Now what A is doing is going to advertise to B. Hello neighbor, my revision value is 4. Now B will check me. Let me check it. Okay, my revision is 3. Then what B will understand? What B will understand? So my revision number is already 3, but you are telling is 4 means you have only one new update, right? Only one new update. What's the new update? 30 is being deleted. So switch B will not ask, so send me for your 4 updates. What switch B is asking is, I have already 3 information, 3 region numbers information, 3 modifications. You're telling is 4, right? Then tell me only one. So what is the one? 30 is being deleted. Okay, I'm going to delete. Now B also modified is what? Only one. Region number 4. Update to C. C is 3. But you are telling is 4. Okay, you have one update. Tell me update. 30 is deleted. Okay, let me delete the 30 here. And one modification is done. So this is how VTP server mode and client mode to create or to delete VLANs information to synchronize always they use what? Revision numbers. To maintain the consistency of throughout the network, VTP is very useful in real time. Okay. So we no need to configure or we don't to delete entire the number of switches in the organizations. We just create the VLANs in server switches is going to advertise and going to copy in all client switches automatically by using the backend crossword revision. Right. Now after some time I have created, let me create some VLANs here. Again later VLAN 40, VLAN 50, VLAN 60 have configured. Now what's the revision number? 7. Updated to all client switches. Even client switch also will be update the same information. 40, 50, 60, 7, 7. Here also 40, 50 and 60, right? Now after some time, can you hear me guys? Hello? Right. After some time, I'm going to delete 3 VLANs now. I'm going to do what? Delete the VLANs. So to delete the VLANs, have the 2 methods is there. Method number 1 is 1 by 1 VLAN you can delete. No VLAN 40, no VLAN 50, no VLAN 60, no 70, no 80, no 90. Like you can 1 by 1 VLANs you can delete. This is one method. Second method is a multiple VLANs at once you can delete the range. No VLAN 40 to 70, 40 to 80, 40 to 100, 40 to 500. Like with a number of VLANs with one single command also can delete. So here we have 2 methods. One is what? 1 by 1 VLAN you can delete and number of VLANs with one command also can delete. So if I delete the VLANs in multiple VLANs at one time, no VLAN 40 to 60 at one time, 3 VLANs have been deleted now. Then what will be the revision value here? Perfect. Now revision number is what? 8. So even have deleted a 100 VLANs or 200 VLANs or 1000 VLANs at one time, Your region number will be increased as what? Only 1. The second is a, if I deleted one by one, no 40, no 50, no 60. Now what is the revision value? Revision value is what? 10, 7 plus 3. Right? Like this, the modifications is been happening in switches. Based on that, revision will be increased. Okay. Next concept, next scenario is same topic. Switch A is a server switch. Switch B is a client, and switch C also client. In switch A, we have some devices like port number 1, port number 2. Port number 1 device and port number 2 device both are belongs to sales department. Like port number 4 and port number 5. These ports are belongs to HR department. In switch B, port number 1 and port number 2. So first two ports are belongs to like marketing department. And port number 4 and port number 5. So these two ports are belongs to IT department. In switch C, like port number 1 and port number 2 belongs to sales. And port number 4 and port number 5 belongs to HR. So this is my scenario now. Now you tell me guys, out of 3, can you create VLANs in switch B? Can you create VLANs in switch B? No. So we can create VLANs in only switch A. Why? Because it is what? Server. So I have created VLANs in A, VLAN 10 for sales, VLAN 20 for HR. I created 2 VLANs. Now what is the region value of server switch? 2. Default region numbers for what? 0 here. 0 here. So what server switch is doing is going to update, is going to advertise to B. Hello neighbor switch B, my region number is 2. What about yours? Now B is telling is that, okay, my region number is 0. What you are telling is 2 means you have 2 updates. So please give the update. What are the updates? VLAN 10, VLAN 20. 10 and 20 is updated. So actually VLAN 10 and VLAN 20 is being created for which departments? VLAN 10 and VLAN 20 created for what? Sales and HR. But in the switch B, we have which departments here? The switch B, we have which department is what? Marketing IT. So we don't require VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. But still is being copied. Like unwantedly, unwanted traffic is being copying, right? So actually in the switch B, we don't have a sales and HR department. But still is copying the 10 and 20 information. But my requirement is I need to create some VLANs for marketing and IT, which is VLAN 50 and VLAN 60. So VLAN 50 and VLAN 60, can I create in the B? No. So even for marketing IT department also, we're going to create server switch. Okay, let me log into server and I created VLAN 50 and V60. What is the revision number here? Revision value is 4. Update to 4 is updating 4. Like it's been added 50 and 60 as well as 10 and 20. Now what B will do? So B is going to update to C. Hello neighbor, say my region number is 4. So what is his region number? 0. So what he is doing is, oh okay, you have a 4 new updates. Give me update. Update is what? 10 and 20 and 50 and 60. 10 and 20, okay, have a sales and HR, then why are updating 50 and 60 here? So 50, 60 for marketing IT, but I don't have in the switch C, right? So this is the problem happen again in the BTP. So this is the happening. Now we understand if have the hundreds of switches, 100 different departments. To avoid this type of issues, even in VTP, we have one more mode of switch is transparent mode. VTP transparent mode. So 3 modes: server mode, client mode, and transparent mode. These are our VTP modes. So where we use transparent mode, what is a transparent mode? Use it as a transparent mode is similar to server switch. If switch is been configured, if switch B is configured as a transparent, right? So I'm making a default. Our default division number is 0. Now switch A is server, switch B is transparent, and C is client. Now let me see how this network is working. In server switch have created V10, V20. Switch number is 2. Now what service doing is update to transparent. Hello transparent switch have a region number is 2. What transparent switch is doing is, so whatever the advertised by server switch, so that information will not copied in the transparent switch. Not synchronizing, does not synchronizing same information, whatever advertised by server, the same information will forward it to another switch. So transparent switch action is functioning is it just forwards the advertisements. It just like send the updates to next switch. It is not copied, it is not synchronized. So what are the update coming from server switch with the same information? Hello revision number 2. Now what client is doing is if it's a client switch, it will be copied and again advertise. If C also transparent, what transparent switch will do? The same information will update to another switch. So transparent switch is just forward the advertisements. It does not synchronize. Then what is the use of it means? The transparent switch, we can create VLANs. We can delete VLANs. We can modify VLANs. It only does not synchronize. In the transparent switch, I can create VLAN 50 and VLAN 60. Then what is the revision number for transparent switch? Transparent switch revision value. If we create VLAN or if we delete VLAN, always revision number is what? 0. Even if we create number of hundreds of VLANs, always revision number is what? Clear? So this is how VTP server mode, client mode, transparent mode will work. So mostly transparent mode we use for to create VLANs in local switch itself. Switch itself only, so which should not advertise by other switches. Even server to server can be synchronized. Switch A is server and C is also server. A and C are server can be synchronized advertisements. Server to client can be synchronized advertisement. Only transparent switch does not synchronize. Okay, guys. You can read the point now. You can get the more information here. See, the transparent if is not synchronizing means it is secure. Difference which when it is not synchronizing means it's already secure, right? We do some online exam. Small. VLANs practice test one. Right, be ready, all of you, on your notebooks. And number one, you're using different VLANs for different departments in your company. What is the main reason for using such different VLANs? The options one, two, three, four options. Option A, option B, or C and D. A, B, C, D. Let me repeat the question. You are using different VLANs for different departments in your company. What is the main reason for using such different VLANs? Only for security. So a lot of times we have discussed, right? So measure the main advantage of VLANs creating is to provide layer 2 security and to minimize the broadcast. So to create virtual small domains for each department means option A and option C. 1 and C means option D is the right answer. Let me click on it. There, guys. Let me submit. Next question. In switch C, region number is 40. You change this switch C from server to transparent mode. What will be the final region number? It's actually 0. So when you change from server to transparent, become the 0. But here we don't have any option 0, right? So means it will remain same. 40 option C. Submit it. In switch B, revision number is 10. You deleted 3 VLANs one by one. What will be the final revision number? The question is you deleted, not created. You deleted 3 VLANs one by one. What will be the final revision number? 13. Are you sure? Option D is sure. So you deleted 3 VLANs one by one means if you create VLANs or if you delete VLANs, your revision number will be what? Increase. So already revision number is 10. One by one you deleted means what? 3 changes, 3, 13. Submit. And the next question. What is the default version of VTP? VTP default version. Let me open the Cisco Practically software and by practically, let me check it. Show VTP status. VTP version 2. VTP version 2 is answer. Right? Option B. Submit. Switch A is server, switch B is client, switch B made 4 VLANs. Can they propagate to switch A? Answer is what? Option A, option B, option C. Answer is what? You can't. So you cannot make VLAN in switch B, right? That is the answer actually, right? Because switch B is a client switch. So we can create VLANs or you can create VLANs in only server mode switch. The question is switch A is server, but switch B is client. Switch B made 4 VLANs. Can't do it. You cannot make it. Right? Answer is option C. Question number 6. How many VLANs does VTP support for trunking? How many VLANs does VTP support for trunking? Only active VLANs? All of them? Or only allowed VLANs? Was the answer. Here, trunk configuration. Interface fast Ethernet port number 24. Switch port mode trunk. Switch port trunk allowed VLAN. Switch port trunk allowed VLAN space if I use command is 10. Now port number 24 can allow which VLAN traffic? Only VLAN 10 traffic only, right? So now switch port trunk allowed VLAN 20 if I give command. Now Now port number 24 allows only VLAN 20, no other VLANs. So when port number 24 can allow all VLAN traffic, so when we give the all command, now only port number 24 can allow all VLANs, right? So here, what does it mean? Your trunk can allows only which VLANs is been allowed by network administrator. That VLANs only been allowed. So we need to define, right? So which VLAN do under allow? VLAN 10 under allow or V10, 20, 30 or V10, V8, V90 or all VLANs. It depends upon our section, right? Only allowed VLANs are been allowed. By default, what is the native VLAN? Native VLAN means local VLAN. Which is a local VLAN? VLAN 1 is a local. VLAN 1 is known as VLAN, native VLAN also. Next. VLAN operates on what layer of the OSI layer model? Layer 2. Layer 2 is a data link layer, right? Data link layer. We have installed a new switch 3750 network. How many default VLANs in the switch contains? So by default, every Cisco switch already we have VLAN 1, VLAN 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, right? So by default, 5 VLANs are being present. Out of 5 VLANs, which is a management VLAN, which is administrative VLAN? VLAN 1 is a management, but the question is what here? How many default VLANs in this switch contains is a 5 VLANs? Option 5. Option B is option. Last question. By default, pruning mode is disabled for new switch 3550. TTP pruning mode what? Is disabled. So exam has been completed. Yeah, pruning mode is a different concept. We'll see in the advanced level. Not require much knowledge on it. Submit it. I'll see our score. Performance. Submit. Oh, congratulations all of you. You have completed VLAN practice test 1. You have scored 100 points out of 100. Your performance has been rated as a unbeatable performance. Well done, all of you. Good. Unbeatable performance, huh? Yeah, sure. I'll help you out in the entire the season exam also. Once the days will back again, lockdown has been finished. So text me in the WhatsApp. I'll help you out for the clear the exams. Not only Cisco, not only CCNA, like any Cisco or Microsoft or VMware or Sure. Like any exams, I'll be help out. Okay. VTP configuration. VTP server. VTP server mode. can create, modify, delete. Yes. Client mode? No. VTP transparent? Yes, but only local switch. Right? Only local. VTP can synchronize? Yes, it can be synchronized. VTP client? Yes. Transparent? No. What VTP server will do? Forward advertisements, right? Client also forward. Transparent switch also forward. Actions of three modes: VTP server, client, and transparent. Let me show you the practical. Let me check this. Already cleared the VLANs or not? So VLAN 3. Yeah, already we have two VLANs, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, no problem. VTP status, VTP operating mode is what? Server mode. Even the switch B also. Show VTP status, switch B also what? Server mode. So default all switches mode is what? Server. We'll do one thing. We'll keep switch A as a server and we'll let me change switch B as a client. Okay. So before changing the server and client, so two switches should be configured as the same domain name and same password, right? Let me create VTP domain name and VTP password in first switch. Okay. VTP domain name is like all our caps letters CCNA. VTP password is C I only uppercase. Example, VTP password is Cisco. The same domain name and same password you have to create in client switch, like remaining all switches also, right? Let me log into other switch. VTP domain name is what? CCNE. VTP password is I is a capsule, small c, Cisco. Now verification command. Show VTP status. VTP domain name is CCNE. So VTP password. VTP password is what? Cisco. And switch B, let me change as a client switch. VTP mode client. VTP mode is what? Client is being changed. Now switch A is a server mode, switch A is a server, switch B is what? Client, right? VLAN 999 name A, VLAN 888 VLAN 888 name B, VLAN 777 name C. I have created three VLANs, ABC VLANs, right? So VTP VLAN brief. Now here you can get 777 888 VLANs. Just log into B and verify the VLAN information. So VLAN brief and switch B automatically can get what? The same information. Yeah. So VTP status, now configuration revision is what? 10. Even if we check in the switch A also, show VTP status, configuration, revision number is what? 10. Okay. Now let me delete one VLAN. No VLAN triple A. Only one VLAN is been deleted. Now if we check show VTP status, what was the revision number? Revision number is what? 11. And log into B. Show VTP status. Revision number is what? 11. Means VLAN triplet is being deleted. Here 777, 999 is already there. In switch B, let me try to create VLAN 555. What's the error message? VLAN configuration not allowed when device in a client mode. Already switch B is in a client mode, right? That is the reason we cannot create. Can you delete? Let me try to delete. No VLAN 999. Not allowed. We cannot create, we cannot delete. So switch B is now show VTP status. Switch B is a operating mode is client mode and present configuration revision is 11. So what I'm doing is let me change VTP mode as a transparent. I have changed as transparent switch. Now if you check the status, show VTP status, revision number 0. Operating mode is a transparent. Okay. Like this, we can do the verification. VTP configuration is this. Can copy it. Show VTP status and show VTP password is the verification command. See, generally in real time, where we use transparent mode, how it is very useful. Let me explain clearly. So this is my network. So my network is been established in 2015, 2019. A, B, C. Number of switches that we have all are connected. And I have made a switch A is a server and the switch B is client and the C is client. I created some VLANs in A and I had deleted some VLANs in A from up to 2020 February. So I have created a lot of VLANs, deleted a lot of VLANs. It's been switch A revision number is 900. Even switch B also revision number is what? 900. And C revision number is what? 900. After some time, after 2020 February, like Cisco is being released some advanced iOS versions. So what my manager is doing is upgrade your switches. What I'm doing is have remote. So switch B and C is working fine. It's working good. Then why I'm removing here in network? So just to upgrade the new switches only, right? I purchased one new switches and I have added here. They are connected. But the thing is what B, switch B and C both are working fine. I have connected some devices, which is new B, new switches, C are advanced iOS versions. We have some advanced protocols are being supporting. Now I'm trying to add some more devices I need to add. But in the A, no empty ports. The B also no empty ports and C also no empty ports. Then how we can add the more end user devices? We required one more switch, right? Some new switches are required. So at this moment, do you recommend you purchase a new switches or already you have a B and C's, right? So do you use this B and C you can use or here you can purchase the new switches? What you will do? So we no need to purchase the new one, right? Why? Because already we have the two new switches. We have the supporting very good protocols. No problem. Then again, why we need to purchase new one? Not required. You can use what? B and C. Now let me make use B and C. Work. So when I'm using B and C switches in my network, so what is the revision number of B and C here? Switch B and C revision number is what? 900, right? So maybe present this is my new topology. So server A is a server. This revision number is 5. Server and these are the clients revision number 5, revision number 5. Now once if you add this is an this switches as a network, so what the switches will do? Will update to neighbor client. Hello client, my is a 900 is the revision number. What about existing switch revision number is what? 5. Okay, I have 5. You are telling is 900. Now give me 895 updates. What C will do? Oh, take my all the previous like VLANs information updated to here. So what C will do? Update to B. Here 900, here 900. Now what client will do? So client is going to update the server. Actually, we have take update from where? Server to client, right? But in the reverse, what happening here? Client is telling is that server, you have only 5, so take from update from me. This is the problem. Then what we need to do? So before adding these switches to existing network, we have to make your region number is what? 0. Like how we can make your region number is 0? There is a two ways. One is Erase flash. Yeah. Similarly, factory reset. Erase the flash. Format the switch. So for erase in the flash, again reinstall in the flash memory iOS files. Can I recommend it? What we'll do, just change, just configure is a transparent mode. Now your revision number become what, guys? 0. Like after become the 0, now make into client mode. I can use in the network. So this is the main purpose of in industrial, in your organizations. Transparent modes are very useful. Okay, clear now? Right. So these are about VTP. Now let me continue with one new scenario here. How to allow communication between the two different VLANs. Scenario is here. Port number 1, port number 2, 3, 4, 24 port switch. User 1 to port number 1. One more device to connect to port number 5. Now port number 1 is in a V10 and port number 5 is in a V20. Now first PC and 50 PC, will they communicate, guys? No communication. Why? Because both are in what? Different VLANs. Okay. First PC in a 10.0.0. Network IP address. Second PC in a 9.0.0 network IP address. Okay, VLAN 1, it is a VLAN 1. Will they communicate, guys, now? No. Why? Different network. So first PC is a sales department. Second PC is a HR department. So instead of creating VLANs, now make into is a sales is a 10 dot network and configure HR is a 9 dot network. Now no communication. Then why would you create VLANs? So why VLANs will come in the picture here? Instead of creating VLANs, like how many departments in your network? Like for all departments, for each department, configure different IP addresses. No communication. Then why still we used to configure VLANs? So this is very important question for the interviews. Surely they can ask you. So instead of creating VLANs, just make into different departments in different networks, then no communication. Even the same thing happened there before also, right? Even here, sales is a V10, star is a V20. Now will they communicate? No communication. The same thing happened here also. 10 dot network, 9 dot network. So my question is here, instead of creating VLANs, you can create the different networks. So same thing happened. Then still why we used to create VLANs? Avoid broadcast. Very good, Sunesh. We number of times we have discussed what is the use of VLANs, what is the purpose of VLANs. Is main thing is what? To provide security and to minimize the broadcast. Here in this situation, in the scenario, sales department is 10 dot network, HR department is 9 dot network. Now, sales PC is trying to communicate with the sales PC, which is the 10 dot network. Now, broadcast, what switch will do? So, switch irrespectively to the broadcast with the same network or different network. Now, broadcast happen to throughout all the ports. So, what it is doing is HR department, you're the 9 dot network, I don't broadcast. It's not like that. So switch is telling is that I can't understand you on the 10 dot or 9 dot. I cannot understand IP address. Switch irrespectively will do broadcast. Then what I'm doing is, if I configure sales department is a VLAN 10, HR department is a VLAN 20, now what switch will understand? Oh, okay, you are the different broadcast domain. I am a different broadcast domain. We don't broadcast. So securely they can communicate. Secure. We provide a secure. We minimize the broadcast. But still, based upon the same scenario, still the both want to communicate. It should not be broadcast. But still we need a communication between sales and HR. How? So to allow the traffic, to forward the traffic from one VLAN to another VLAN. Or you tell me guys, like which device are required to enable communication between two different networks? How? Which device are required to enable communication between two different networks is what? No, not router. Okay, router is right answer, but can you tell me the technical answer? Technically, how? Which device are required? Perfect, Pradeep. You required what? Layer 3 device. So what are the layer 3 devices? So layer 3 devices are router is a layer 3 device and L3 switch also layer 3 device, right? So to enable communication between two different VLANs, to forward the traffic from one VLAN to another VLAN, we used what? Either router or either layer 3 switch. Anyone you can use that. So let me discuss clearly by using router how to allow the communication and by using layer 3 how to allow the communication, all those things. Let me take one router. From router, fast Ethernet port, I connected one cable to which port number? Port number 2. From router, which port, guys? FE 0/0. The router maintains the routing table. The routing table is default is empty. When router will come in the picture, along with router, routing table will be there. So have you observed? So whenever I draw the router, I'll draw with what? Routing table also. But because router always will function based on what? Routing table itself. Right. Now, fast Ethernet 0/0 have assigned the IP address. That IP address is 10.0.0.1 and FE 0/0 state is up. So So when your fast Ethernet port is being up, now your network ID will be updated in your routing table like this. 10.0.0.0 is directly connected to via fast Ethernet 0/0. This is the information is being updated, right? Okay. Now sales PCs and HR department, sales and HR is trying to communicate. Now source is a 10 dot network, source is a VLAN 10. Now what is the destination? Destination is a 9 dot network, VLAN 20. Packet is being generated. So this packet will come to router. What router will do? Router always will check what? Destination IP address. Right? What is the destination IP address? Destination is what now? 9 dot. So do you have entry in the routing table about 9 dot information? If there is no destination IP address in the router, what router will do? Router will do the broadcast. Router will do the unicast. No. Then what router will do? Drop it. Packet drop. So if packet drop means now VLAN 10 user, VLAN 20 user will communicate. Then how to allow VLAN 10, VLAN 20 means let me take one more interface from router to 3 are connected FE 0/1 port number 1. So fast Ethernet 0/port number 1 have configured IP address is 9.0.0.1 and the link is being up. Now you can get update in your routing table. 9.0.0.0 is directly connected to via which interface? FE 0/1. Now sales network source IP address, destination IP address, both are have in the routing table. Now traffic is being forwarding from one network to another network. I mean, one VLAN to another VLAN is being configured, enabled. Now they can communicate. So this is a method by using router. So we can allow communication from one VLAN to another VLAN by using a router. Okay, clear? But here the main important question is to allow the communication for VLAN 10, VLAN 10 and for VLAN 20. How many switch ports are being used? Port number 2 and port number 3. Okay. How many router ports are being used? Fast Ethernet 0/0, fast 0/1. Okay. How many cables are being used? 2 cables, right? So to allow the communication for two different VLANs to switch ports to router ports and two cables, but my requirement in my company, in my office, I want to allow VLAN 10, V20, V30, V40, V60, like I have a 10 VLANs I want to allow, 10 different VLANs communication. How many switch ports are required? How many router ports are required? How many cables are required? So 10 fast Ethernet ports are for router, right? Like which category router can be support for 10 LAN ports? Branch router can support it. ISP router. So what is the price of ISP router? What is the cost of ISP router? Crores of rupees, right? So we need to purchase crores of rupees for what purpose? Enable communication for VLANs in the LAN. Is it good? This is one of the option only. Is one of the way only to allow different VLAN communication by using router by using multiple physical interfaces. Okay. Generally, in real time, we don't do this method. What we'll do by using router. Now I'm taking only one physical port. I don't require only multiple physical ports now. Only one physical port. FE 0/0. Only one port. So by using only one physical port, now we can allow communication for different VLANs. 2V different VLANs, 3 different VLANs, 20, 200, like number of different VLANs we can enable communication by using only one physical port. You know how? So one physical port can be supported to create multiple virtual ports. Means FE fast Ethernet 0/0 is a physical interface. So inside the fast Ethernet port, we can create fast Ethernet 0/0.1, FE 0/0.2, FE 0/0.3. Like one physical interface can be supported to create multiple sub interfaces. So each VLAN is being associated with one sub interface. Like how many VLANs you want to allow communication in the LAN? At present, our example is sales and HR, two different VLANs, right? Then can create two sub interfaces. Like number of Pradeep, like number of sub interfaces you can create. Not virtual interfaces. Let's simply can say sub interface. Interface, sub interface. FE 0/0 is interface. Dot one, dot two, dot is what? Sub interfaces. Forwarding traffic from one VLAN to another VLAN by using a router. So this process we called IVR, inter-VLAN routing. Inter-VLAN routing is a process of forwarding traffic from one VLAN to another VLAN by using router. Inter-VLAN routing is a process of forwarding traffic from one VLAN to another VLAN by using a router. A very important point is here. Guys, can you hear me? Are you following the concept? Right. Now, your router is connected to port number 3, right? Now, I'm using only one port. Based upon our example here, how many VLANs are available? 10 and 20. So how many sub-interfaces I need to create? Two sub-interfaces I created. Fast Ethernet 0/0.1 for V10. Fast Ethernet 0/0.2 for VLAN 20. VLAN 10 have configured 10.0.0.1 and for VLAN 20 have configured 9.0.0.1 IP address. Here your routing table is updated. 9.0.0.0 directly connected to fast Ethernet 0/0.2.1. Even we have source IP, destination IP is updated. They can allow. Now how the communications happen? Now from sales computer, VLAN 10 computer, data traffic is being generated. This data traffic will come to port number 1 to port number 3. Why port number 3? Why? Because your router is connected to port number 3, right? Now port number 1 to port number 3. Port number 3 will go to router. The router will check the routing table. Yeah, we have entries are available. Again forward to port number 3. Now port number 3 will forward to port number 5. Now port number 5 we received. Now when VLAN 20 is trying to communicate with VLAN 10, what is the process? Now traffic from V20, data traffic, port number 5 to 3, 3 to router. Router will check the routing table, again 1. So what my main question is, now port number 3 is receiving how many VLAN traffic? For port number 3 is receiving what? VLAN 10 traffic as well as what? VLAN 20 traffic also, right? If port number 3 is a access port, if port number 3 is a access mode, now tell me guys, now port number 3 can allows how many VLAN traffic and which VLAN traffic? If port number 3 is a access mode, it allows only VLAN 1 traffic, right? But there are no communication between sales and HR. Then which mode will to configure to allow V10, V20 traffic? So this is very, very important point. Router and switch which port is connected, that port should be configured trunk to allow multiple VLAN traffic. Right? So means here port number 3 should be configured what? Trunk. That's the second point. The port where route is connected on the switch should be configured as a trunk to allow multiple VLAN traffic. Physical interface on router is divided into multiple sub-interfaces. Each sub-interface is associated with one VLAN. So this process also we call as router on a stick. Like symbolically, you can say router on a stick. So this is also called as router on a stick. You can copy it now. Clear? So two methods we have seen. Method number one is what? By using router, multiple physical interfaces. And second method is by using router, only one physical interface. And second, third method is a router is not required if the switch is a L3 switch. If switch is L3 switch, directly we can configure IP address to VLAN 10, IP address to VLAN 20. They can communicate. You know why? Because layer 3 also maintains the routing table. We can assign the interface IP for V10 and V20. They can communicate. Routing between VLANs. Routing between VLANs can be done in the using multiple physical links. Called what? Legacy inter-VLAN routing. Using a single link, creating subinterface called what? Router on stick. Using the multi-layer switch. It's layer 3 switch. 3 minutes. You can copy this diagram by using router. Interface 1, interface 2. So FE 0/0, FE 0/1. And you can enable communication for different VLANs, VLAN 10 and VLAN. Second method is router on stick. Here only one interface, but creating fe0/0.1, fe0/0.2. Then you can allow V10 and V20 communication. One more method is we don't require any router. The switch is L3 switch. It is a L3 device, L3 switch. V10 and V20 directly it will come. Three ways. Okay, guys. So mostly, first one we don't use, we don't recommend. Second one and third one mostly will use both. Let me show you the configuration, the router on stick configuration, how to create the sub interfaces, all these things. Let me show you the configuration part. Okay, we'll take the setup here. So VLAN 1, 2, 3 ports already in V10. 4, 5, 6 ports are in V20, right? We try to communicate in first three pieces and last three pieces. Let me configure first computer IP address as a 10.0.0.10. 10.0.0.10. The VLAN 20 computer, let me change IP address as 9.0.0.10. Now, how to communicate from VLAN 10 and VLAN 20? If you check the data packets from V10 to V20, status is what? Failed. To enable communication, we require the three methods. The first method, leave it about. You try this one. Directly connect the two interfaces and you can try it. And I'll show you this method, the second method. Let me take one router. Connecting cable, cable from router fast Ethernet to switch port. Port number 14 I'm connecting. Router is connected to which port number, guys? Port number 14. Let me configure router now. Enable interface fast Ethernet 0/0. Default state is shutdown. Let me make it no shutdown. My port is being activated. Interface FA 0/0. You can see clearly here. Config if means it's interface mode, right? Go to back, exit. Interface fast Ethernet 0/0. If I use .1, enter. Showing the which mode? Sub interface mode. Now sub interface encapsulation .1Q for V10. .1Q means 802.1Q. Encapsulation method is .1Q for VLAN 10. And VLAN 10 IP address 10.0.0.1.250.0.0. Exit. Same like for V20. Interface fast Ethernet 0/0.2. Encapsulation method .1Q for 20. IP address is what? 9.0. Enough. Now back to show IP route. If you check routing table, the routing table you can get two networks, 9 dot network, 10 dot network. It's directly connected to fast Ethernet 0/.1, fast 0/0.2. Now VLAN 10 user, VLAN 20 user, will they communicate now, guys? Will they communicate? Yes or no? I created sub interfaces. The remaining people, I'm not getting answer from you. So I have connected a router and created sub interfaces. Now VLAN 10, VLAN 20, will they communicate? See, you are forgetting the very important point we lot of times we have discussed. The router and the switch, which port is connected, your port should be configured what? Trunk. Then only V10, V20 is allowed. So what is the default mode of port number 14? It's a dynamic auto, right? Then how it allows the communication? So your router and the switch, which port number is connected, so that port should be configured what? Trunk. Then only communication is been allowed. For example, which port number is connected? Port number 14. Let me configure port number 14 is a trunk. Okay. Interface fast Ethernet 0/14. Switch port mode trunk. Switch port trunk allowed VLAN all. Now trunk is been enabled. Now if we check communication from VLAN 10 to VLAN 20. Will they communicate now? Oh, okay. Let me check communication. Taking one data packet, keeping one message in a source and destination. Failed. Let me check once again. Data. Failed. Let me check once again. Still failed. Why? Now source computer IP address is 10.0.0.10. Destination computer IP address is what? 9.0.0.10. Now source IP, destination IP, both are in same network or different network? Different network means when your packet will go to the router, we must configure what? Gateway. Default gateway need to configure, right? When traffic is reaching for different network, then default gateway is must. So what will be the default gateway of this computer? Subinterface IP address is a gateway for this computer. Fast Ethernet 0/02 subinterface IP for this computer. So means V10 computer gateway is 10.0.0.1. V20 gateway is what? 9.0.0.1. Let me assign the gateway. 10.0.0.1 and this machine 9.0.0.1. Now if you check communication, you should get successful communication. Right? Try with once again. Source and destination. If more than 2 times is getting failed means some configuration error. Let me check the status. Show interface trunk. Port number 14 trunk is enabled, but we don't know which port number it is belongs to. Let me check that PC is belongs to which port number. This is port number 1. This is port number 7. Show VLAN brief. See, port number 1 is sales department, VLAN 10. But so port number 7 is not there, right? The reason interface fast Ethernet 0/7 switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 20. Now, port number 7 is also the part of V20. Now if you try to communicate from V10 to V20, initial packet will be dropped. You get the failed message. Once again, yeah. Now if you try to check communication, and destination, is what? How the traffic is moving from source device to destination device. We'll play the animation. So PC to switch port number 14 where the trunk is configured. forward to router. Router will check the routing table sub-interfaces in back to route trunk port, and trunk port will send to destination computer. From destination reply is started. But even you have a layer 3 switch, take one layer 3 switch, connect to devices. The device 1, port number 1, is port number 2, the layer 3 switch. Let me create VLANs. Host name, layer 3 switch, VLAN 10, name is VLAN 20, name some HR. Two VLANs are created, right? Interface VLAN 10, IP address 10.0.0.1 to 5.5.0. So this is not possible in L2 switches. We are creating interface VLAN 10, right? But in L2 switches, interface VLAN 1 is only possible. We cannot create VLAN 10. Layer 2 switch. When a layer 2 switch, other than VLAN 1, if you try to create even interface VLAN 2 and VLAN 3, means this switch is to version 12.2. So this can be supported, but some device cannot be supported for that actually. If you check with the show running configuration, here we have enabled what? VLAN 10, interface VLAN 2, VLAN 3. Generally, layer 2 devices not supported. Here, when if we check show IP route, show IP route command is not working right here. Interface VLAN 2 IP address. Let me assign some IP address here. Is not working. We'll go to layer 3. Same like interface VLAN 20 9.net. Back to privilege mode. We show IP route. Your routing table is empty. Let me execute this command IP routing. The routing is been enabled. See, if we don't use this command, if we not configure this command IP routing, your switch is not a layer 3 switch, it's a layer 2 switch only. After enable IP routing command, now only this switch will become what? Layer 3 switch. It's a very important point, guys. If IP routing command is not enabled, the switch will keep is what? It acting like a layer 2 only. When it become the layer 3, when we configure the IP routing command, then only your device can become what? Layer 3 switch. Interface configuration mode, interface pass Ethernet 1, port mode, access, switch port access, VLAN number 10. Port number 2, switch port mode access, VLAN number 20. Now if you check show IP route command, you can have what? Source destination network IDs and V10, V20 updated. Directly they can communicate. Then these are the methods. Okay. So that's for today. So today we have covered DTP, Dynamic Trunking Protocol, VTP, VLAN Trunking Protocol, IVR, inter-VLAN routing in the different methods. Any doubts regarding the three topics? DTP, VTP, and IVR? Here, all of you. So, if you have any queries, you can text me now. I'm going to end the meeting. So, I'm informing you to all of you